and sell it as He-Man's tie.
No, the best part was the Battle Cat was sometimes green, and then he was sometimes purple when Skeletor made it, because it was the same toy, and they reversed it, so they just reversed the mold 90 degrees, so they were basically, you could put the riders on them, and He-Man and Skeletor would be fighting each other like a vignette, even though the riders were terrible.
That's thinking on your feet.
That's thinking on your feet. Yeah. That's getting the most of those molds.
Those people knew how to sell.
Do you know whoever cast those giant jacked arms and torsos? They sculpted it once.
Yeah.
Everybody had the same arms, everybody had the same legs, everybody had the same torso. Everybody's wearing a different diaper and had a different piece of armor on their chest. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to Inside Tabletop, where we're going to talk about He-Man, but not why you think. Because we just finished watching The Tithe. The Tithe, the latest Warhammer Plus TV show that just came out this past week and is causing some hullabaloo. And we're not going to engage with any of that because fuck that kind of discussion. I want to talk about the fact that the last two Warhammer Plus TV shows I watched, which is Prime Nexus and now starting this. Yeah. And let's put aside technical stuff. Like, this is not a technically great show. The animation looks like a Diablo 2 cutscene.
It's very video game cutscene. Yeah, for sure.
Like, just watch. It's funny because you can see where they spent the money on the animation, like the fight scenes with the lictors and Death Leapers and stuff. And no spoilers. We're just going to talk in generalities. Yeah. We're pretty good. The storytelling is meh. There's no character development. Everyone's super unlikable. It's just setting tone. Mm-hmm. But man, the product placement is off the charts.
Everything looks like it looks in model form, which is...
Well, when you digitally sculpt miniatures, you can reuse those assets in animation with almost no playover. So that's why we're talking about He-Man, because for those of you who don't know, it used to be illegal to do this. You actually, in the US at least, you actually couldn't put toys, consumables on television.
Wait, you mean like selling to children and propaganda elements on television is illegal at some point?
Imagine
what a world!
Imagine what the year of my birth, the year of our Lord 1980. Everything changed with a man called Ronald Reagan.
Oh, he's such a likable figure.
He's such a likable figure. He's such a draconic cowboy of a president.
Yeah.
And this is perfect time. There's a wonderfully historically interesting movie about Reagan right now too. Oh, but short story long, without getting too much into Reaganomics, he took the FCC and deregulated it massively, so that by 1983 you had the first company invested television show, which was the Pac-Man TV show. And Nintendo collaborated with a North American studio to make the Pac-Man cartoon. It was followed up quite quickly by things like Transformers, He-Man, Mask. Mask was the first one, like with Kenner. And led to an era where product placement in TV was a thing. And baby boy howdy is it back on Warhammer
And not even product placement in TV, but like TV shows literally made to sell toys. Like they only exist because we want to sell you toys. That's it. Yeah.
And watching through this new episode of The Tithe, which does a great job with mood and atmosphere for the most part, but just the dialogue, the animation's like the running is incredibly robotic. They look like they're Naruto running. Like their upper bodies aren't moving, but their legs are moving like
they nailed the Sister of Silence though.
She was character. Awesome. And the fact that she used English Sign Language throughout the entire thing. There was one moment we both popped for, and it was where, and I will minor spoilers here. There's one moment we popped for where like the Tithe and the Imperium, for those of you who don't know, story-wise is they pick up psychic aware citizens of the Imperium, throw them in ships, and then feed them to the Emperor. His Golden Throne is powered by basically eating 1 million souls a day, 1,000 souls a day to like fuel the Golden Throne and keep him alive so that the Astronomicon can stay lit. Short story long, this doesn't happen. The Imperium dies. And they're like in a container of these like destitute derelicts who are all psychically aware. And one of them asks, are we going to be okay? And the Sister of Silence, because no one's able to understand her. It's the one good plant and payoff the whole time. She's signed everyone. Everyone's like, huh? And then the custodian that she's with has to like answer for her.
Yeah.
And they're like, are we going to be okay? And she just goes, no, you're going to die. Everyone on this planet is doomed.
Everyone's doomed.
And everyone's like, huh? And the custodian just goes, everything's fine. Yes, everything will be fine. That was the one bit I popped for. It was the one bit of good writing in the whole thing. Because they did a good plant and payoff with... It was actually the one, I think, good bit of writing in this whole thing.
Yeah.
But this is a serious amount of product placement because we have the Agents of the Imperium book, we have a bunch of custodies, We have Sister Silence and a Custodia, obviously, there. We have all of the 10th edition launch box baddies. So we have Termagants. We have the
Von Ryan's
Leapers, and we have a couple of
Big
Lictors
yeah.
in like a fight scene, a cutscene fight scene, which is really interesting. But then we have Space Marines from the previous box set. So we have Space Marine Scouts from the Kill Team box. We have the Space Marine Sergeant from, I think, the Stern Guard box, it looks like. And
yeah, he had like the robe.
I think he has the robe, because he has the robe and he has like the backpack ornaments and stuff. And then the captain from whatever the Pride Nexus one was, he's got like the face guard and stuff down, but he has like the plate on him, the little shoulder plate. Yeah. And so these are all character models that are being done clearly off of the miniatures.
Sure.
And it's funny because it looks like animating them is really hard.
Yeah, because
the proportions are wrong.
Right.
And it's really interesting because I think a big part of the animation issues come from the fact that they're using sculpting assets in the animation. So there's a real interesting thing here.
It's a shortcut that they're kind of paying for a little bit.
And it's intentional because there's a recognizable link between the show and the product.
Yeah, but it means everything ended up being a lot more mechanical, like a toy.
Toyetic.
Yeah,
there's even a word for it. It's called toyetic.
Sure. And they almost they move more like robots than they move like humanoids. Yeah.
So my question is, who is this for? If it's behind a paywall, and it's toyetic because it's being intentionally made toyetic, is this for us? Because one thing, it's so obvious it's not working on me. It's just not working on me.
It's not for us.
I care more. Well, that's the thing though. But then it's not for Cash. It's not for my son. It's not for Riley. It's not for Logan because they're never going to see this because it's behind a paywall.
Right.
So then who's it for?
That's a great question. I think that they would say it's for it's like fandomness. Like it's for big fans. Like if you're a really big fan of 40K,
sure,
you're going to watch all the shows and do all and kind of digest all the extra stuff. But it's funny because like it's a bit of a contradiction because like it doesn't feel like it's like made for those people at all, because fans care more about the stuff we're talking about, like
I care about the quality,
yeah,
right.
Sure.
So I want the animation to be good. I want the dialogue to be good. I want the story to be compelling. And so far, it's got like 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
I'm interested in the story. I want to see where it goes. The animation's bad. The face models are bad. The dialogue is, except for one really good plant and payoff writing piece, is bad. And the animation, like the non-fight scene animations look like they're being done by AI. Like they're really wonky, right? And you could make an argument like it's being done for post-human speed or something. And I'm like, no, that guy's hips like shrank down, and then his legs are doing like this. Like it's like his hips aren't moving on the Space Marine, and like the bottom of his feet are like, I can't move.
I think they've got this issue where like they have to produce, because they've got this Warhammer TV thing, they have to produce a certain amount of content, but they don't have the budget really to be like,
and like their
really
talented assets are elsewhere.
Yes.
The other thing that you notice, and this is the difference, this is the thing that set Astartes apart from every other piece of animation, was the camera work. That guy knows where to put the camera to make it compelling, to make the space, like a great shot is the Space Marines at the very beginning of Astartes walking down the hallway, and there's these humans just pushing themselves up against the wall to stay out of their way, but they're doing it from a 45-degree angle above shot, so that you can see everything at the right perspective to see how much bigger the Marines are.
And that person,
and they're landing it from behind,
understands how important creating this, using people like the people that are watching the show as a vessel to understand the universe. Like we talked about this about the Amazon show. It's like the stories we really like, especially when you're reading the books and stuff like that, have that protagonist that's involved that like gives you the lens to see the world outside.
It's probably like Fallout, right?
Fallout, great example.
Three different
the Vaulter.
POVs.
That's why the Vaulter is the perfect protagonist for those stories,
because she's ignorant to the world,
and
so
the most relatable
through her eyes, and then you're also getting the historical context through the ghoul's eyes with the background shots. Like having 3 characters there, where one knows the wasteland, one doesn't know anything, and one knows everything, but they're mystery boxing it through time.
Yeah,
that's what makes that show work, translating a game universe to people. In this one, I think the assumption being made is no, you're in the toy ecosystem. You already know all this stuff. We don't have to spell anything out to you. And so there's no real effort being made apart from just picking up a story midstream. It's like watching a season 2, episode 9 episode of Star Trek. You know what Star Trek is already. You're in the ecosystem. You're just absorbing this stuff.
Yeah.
And here's the products we're going to show you while this is happening. And so here's the last part is, I don't know how intentional it is. I don't know how intentional it is that they're making it as toyetic as it is, or are they cutting corners by using these assets for their animation? Right. And that does leading to this.
That does seem more plausible, I think. Yeah. Because like you said, it's paywalled. It's not this low-hanging fruit thing to kind of get the universe out there and show people what it is. It's a very cultivated, specific thing for a niche within a niche. So yeah, I think you're probably right.
Because it's not doing the Reaganomics promoting a product to me.
Right.
It doesn't make me want to go buy some Von Ryan's Leapers. It doesn't necessarily make me want to go buy Space Cops. Also, where's my miniature for like Destitute Psyker? I can't wait. I want someone to do the fake toy hanger from the dollar store, but it's just a box of Games Workshop miniatures, and it's just like tithe people. And it's just
you got like I remember. I just think of like the big, the big 12-inch figures, like GI Joe figures or whatever that had like the clothes and the accessory pack. You think like Doomed Imperial Citizen,
and they have
like a little like I don't know.
I want a pack of 20 Doomed Imperial Citizens. Yeah, they're just in robes. They're all barefoot and filthy. I just want Doomed. They made the Mordheim version of that. They had the peasants, the whatchamacallit, the something mob, the like screaming mob or whatever miniatures from Mordheim. I want Doomed Imperial Citizens
the bottles and stuff
as a box set. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be the Orko of this, right? It's just like, who wants an Orko? No one wants an Orko miniature.
Why did you make this?
Why did you make an Orko miniature? But yeah, watching this, that was my first thought, was like, you're doing that. I think they feel a commitment to have to just continue to add value to Warhammer Plus. That isn't just a commitment there isn't just you can make army lists.
Yep.
Because you can't. You still have to buy the book and put the code in to make the army list.
Correct.
So I think they need to inherently keep putting value into Warhammer Plus, at least at a certain interval. Yeah. That isn't just getting a miniature for free at the end of the year.
And that's why they still feel compelled to ultimately give the model away, because really they're selling you on the like, even if you don't get anything else out of it, you got this model that would probably cost what it costs anyways. There's got to be a little bit of like, you don't believe that you're giving enough value there then if you're doing that, right? I think they're still figuring out what that is. And shows like this to me are, I don't want to, it sounds harsh to call it filler, because someone worked on that and
we don't know who though.
We'll
it's the Warhammer Storyforge worked on it.
Yeah.
Imagine you worked for 7 months writing this, and then your credit in the trailer is Warhammer Storyforge.
Yeah.
I can't get behind
Did you get
that.
coffee?
I just
or
can't
did
get
you
behind
write
that.
the story, or did you?
When people make art, even if it's this, even if it's art that's at the baseline of it's more product than art, right? To use our Grimdark Media parlance, that this is just a product for the most part.
Yeah.
If you're participating in that, man, that's just a letdown to not actually have your name on it in perpetuity. Although, to be fair, in this version of art, you're not like, this won't be on a like a DVD somewhere.
No,
this is disposable art.
It is.
It's going to disappear at some point, like, or if you don't renew your subscription, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Like, I can't have this on physical media, at least not legally, right? Like, so.
I mean, you could argue. Here's me putting on my shill hat here a little bit. Games Workshop's saving some of these people from the internet because they're shielding them.
Sure.
I mean, like, you see what's happening with like the Disney,
and with the controversy,
and some of the hatred people get about like, God help you, the custode in this show.
That's true. If you wrote the
that story,
for this,
and oh man, that person might get death threats. Like,
entirely possible.
It's that's where we're at in our 2024 timeline.
That's right. Yeah, that person's name. It's funny because in this example, this is the one time where that might actually be true, where that might actually be saving some writing team people from getting doxxed or like having their faces on some political like YouTube stream,
or like when you show up on a political
like when I show up on that show,
I'm like, hey, Ash, you're famous.
Right, he texts
the
me
political guy
hey, look,
follow has got your show.
Your Custodes review is up on this thing, and I'm like, oh Christ,
oh no,
I don't want any of this.
Oh my god,
this is not what toy soldiers are to me. But I do think it's really funny how this piece of product in particular is ultimately super disposable, right? It's not going to be up on, like, it's not going to be anywhere you can find it. I would love if they made a DVD collection of this stuff and made it for sale. I think that'd be awesome to have it as be physical media, but I doubt they will, because inherently there's no upside for them. Yeah, they get paid once for that DVD and it's out there in the world, versus they keep it behind a paywall. People have to stay in the subscription ecosystem.
They're doing a bit of the Amazon thing where they're just spending money to keep people on their platform, basically, which is a very
everything's funneled through it too, right? Like the e-commerce site is now funneled through that subscription. Like everything is through that login, your Warhammer login. And if you don't buy the physical asset of the book, you can't even access parts of that subscription model either, right? So there's it's become very complicated, right? It's not the one subscription thing really that gets you access to a whole bunch of things, because there is some further in-app purchases basically that you're gonna have to make to like use your army list builder and use your stuff. Like,
I think games they're so slow to change things, but I think we're going to see some big changes to how they do that in the next few years. I think we can be looking at that the price of that digital product going up somewhere where like a PlayStation subscription, sort of like $100 a year ish. And
I mean, I just got a PlayStation Plus subscription and played like 10 games I wouldn't have played otherwise. And that was worth it to me. I literally got it so that Cash could play Fallout New Vegas, because he wanted to play it, and I think Jay gave him the strategy guide for it, because Jay was cleaning out his basement, and my son's bedroom is where Jay's shit goes to die now.
That's so funny, because
he's got all of Jay's hero clicks and also all of the strategy guides, and that's why Cash loves Jay best of all of my friends.
Yeah, what do you got for me this week? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, exactly. But that whole like idea that you can get additional value out of it, that feels like what this is to me. It's trying to keep people in, not attracting new people. Whereas the Amazon stuff like Secret Level is going to be attracting people in, and like making what we assume is going to be starter set for Rise of the Rohirrim is going to be an attracting people in thing. Yeah. And there's kind of two classes of animation, right? Like, and you can definitely see with the quality of this animation. Like, there's a thing where you see their faces, and this is like an animator's trick. All of the faces in this are half in shadow, or they don't take their helmets off.
Right.
That's an animation cheat, right? Where like there's so much shadow on half the face, you can never see where the head meets the back of the armor. There's a bunch of like little animation tricks in there to like save them having to animate stuff, but it looks like a natural face is floating inside a toy. Right?
Yeah, I was kind of rooting for the masks to stay on a little bit after the first part of it. Like just keep the helmets on, everyone. Like it's just better that way.
Well, because like you have a higher quality texture than the armor.
You do, yeah.
Like floating in the armor, and so they use this like high contrast of shadow and light basically to make that kind of seamless a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes app wise, because I don't think. I mean, we've just had AOS 4 launch and follow completely the 40K app ecosystem thing now of codes and books, whereas the 40K or the AOS app was completely free before. So they're gonna have to keep adding something to this to keep people in it, to keep their interest in it. Because like I don't know what does it look like in the store as far as when you sell a book, how do people feel about that code and needing to go unlock it to make army lists and stuff? Because their point values are not.
I was using this analogy the other day, like Jay and I were talking about this, and I there's a little bit of like. There's a little bit of like a connection between like I remember like, and this is obviously going to resonate more with people like our age or older, but like what happened with the banks, where like you didn't really have agency in what was happening or like a decision as a consumer. You were eventually forced into the digital reality that we have today. So like branches didn't want you anymore, and they made it so that you couldn't go there essentially, right? And it took a few years to get to that point, but now it's just like it's pretty much 100% online. And the branch exists for very niche sort of.
My second last Bank of Montreal just closed in St.
Oh man,
I can't go. I got one left, and it's like across town. It's like a 20-minute car ride.
They're just like why pay rent for these places and wages and stuff. Yeah. So I think there is an element of duress. I think that that the company is kind of pushing people in a not explicit way, but like it's somewhat forceful to try to push them onto the digital product. Especially like you said with the book codes, and if you want the full experience, you kind of almost have to buy it now.
Well, it's a both end. Like you have to buy the app subscription, then you have to buy the book too to be able to use one of the services inside the app subscription.
And they, like I said, it's a padded experience right now because they do give you that miniature So
that you may or may not want, but it is a cool, unique miniature
that you may or may not want.
Yeah. And like I like the Chaos Space Marine Lord. He was cool.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, cool. It doesn't feel bad, but it like I said, I think it's headed in the direction of like it will get probably more forceful. Yeah, because it's going to be more required and I think more convenient for them, and they're going to see more and more upsides to doing that. So
well, and for me as a consumer, I pay for the Warhammer Plus.
Yeah.
I have yet to make an army list on it.
Yeah.
Right? Because the game I played the most, which is Sigmar, didn't require me to have it. And now for the first time ever,
until now,
I'm going to be using that app to make army lists. Yeah. But I'll only be able to make them for the armies that I get books for.
Correct.
Right? Like going forward. Yeah. So this is going to be my first experience with this because I just didn't like play 40K as much. And in 10th edition, I've played some 40K. I used the app when the army lists were free. But as they rolled forward the codes and everything locked out, I was just like, I couldn't be bothered. I just didn't care.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I would go look in the whatever this month's version of the point value list was that was for free on the website and just do it with a pencil and paper. Because he didn't like army list making wasn't granular enough anymore, and it didn't add any value to my experience because I didn't want to look at rules on the app.
Yeah, I think there's obviously the one more element, which is like these really big companies, and Games Workshop's becoming a really big company. The shareholders love to see the subs thing because it's this guaranteed income that you get every year renewed, right? And it's just this other measurable thing that they like to see. I think is it going up? Is it going down? Is it staying the same? Like,
also, I think that there's at a certain level, and this is just like inside industry stuff, everyone wants to think they can read the mind of the customer. And one thing that apps let you do is see interactions from the customer. Apps track so much about what you do and click on and touch. Yeah. They give you so much metadata, and metadata is like a drug.
Yeah.
At an executive level inside a company, they love to look at numbers and think that they know what that means inside the mind of the consumer.
Yep.
And the more things get pushed into app ecosystems, the more this happens. And actually, I think is one of the reasons why Games Workshop has been so proliferous with their handing out of licenses for mobile games, because it gives them a bunch of, for free, customer data about their customers.
Right.
Every company loves trying to get inside the head of their customer. And these apps do that. And this is another one of those. Warhammer Plus is just another thing that gives them that. How many people watched this episode? Where did they watch to? Where did they leave off at?
Yeah.
There is a ton of information you can gain by our interacting with this media about us and trends and patterns inside their consumer base. And they have to have paid to be there. So that's a customer. That's a person that isn't talking about it for free on the internet. Right? They're not going to sift YouTube algorithms, try and think what their customers are thinking. They're going to look at the people that are paying money to be there and what their actual behavior patterns are. So the more things they can do to keep them there longer, like, putting out these episodes, the more that happens.
Yeah.
Also, I guarantee someone's tracking, do they sell Our Buddies boxes? Do they sell...
Is there any spike? Boxes? Is there a spike?
Is there any... Even just click through.
Yeah.
Because if you're logged into the app to watch the episode, how many times did someone click through and decide they're going to buy boxes of Silence or Custodians or something like that? Because it's going to have happened. There's enough customers out there that's going to have happened at some point. And of the time of release, they can see the overall sales to their web store. So
it's always like, it gives you all these like levers and screens, and you're just building the matrix basically.
And while you're doing it, you're not thinking about it. You're just doing it. So like what the company can tell you about you, there is a reason for this toyeticness and for there to be visual cues in between the products and the videos. Even at our level, I don't think it does anything for me personally, but I can't speak for every person that's going to watch that show. Someone's going to click through and bought something because of it. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Just not us.
No, just not us. We're cold and dead on the inside. You can't sell toys anymore.
You got to really, it's got to be so weird for me now.
I'm already an addict too. So it's like, what are you selling me for? Like, I'm buying my stuff anyways.
You already got me anyway. I'm going to get that General's Handbook. It's fine.
Oh, man. I had a customer. He's the best line on me yesterday. I was like, hey, man, what's going on today? He's like, well, I'm in this week, and do my regular thing. If I don't buy Warhammer this week, I'll die. He got me. I was like, yeah,
all right, there, yeah. He's like, I'm deep in it. I need some little thing to make me happy. I need a treaty right now. I need to buy some cheap dopamine.
I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, he knows himself.
Know thyself. That guy, he's so aware.
100%. Yeah. Well, I want to circle back to this when the next few episodes come out and see what they look like, and if anything, I mean, nothing's going to change because they're all done already, obviously. Yeah. But I would love to circle back when this comes out and Secret Levels is out and compare the two.
Sure, that would be cool.
I think we should definitely do that, where we look at like what gets done for Secret Levels, what's for the mass market to attract people in, versus what's being made on the inside here too, and what this app looks like. It'd be interesting to talk about the app again too, the Warhammer Plus like subscription stuff, and the My Warhammer stuff when a few more books are out for AOS as well, and what that looks like in the store.
Very cool.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Where can people find you?
They can find me in my weird store in Oakville, Lords of War Games and Hobbies. Yeah, you can come buy some stuff if you're in Canada.
Any kind of paint you want.
All way too many paints. Yeah, if you want to be confused about what to buy, our store is great for that.
It is.
And we're on YouTube. We have a little industry talks a couple times a week from a retailer perspective. YouTube.com/Lords of War Games and Hobbies. And then we also have a Patreon that we're building up. And the way we kind of attack Patreon is we say like, our Patreons get to like basically ask us questions, and those turn into videos basically. So that's our way of like saying, support us, build our channel, and we'll cover some stuff you guys are interested in.
Kind of like I do with the AMA stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Perfect. Well, you can find me at patreon.com/Guerrilla Miniature Games. If you're already here on YouTube, you're watching this, so yay, thank you. Where we do, like you said, AMAs. We have the Monday morning show, which is sometimes on a Wednesday. We do it for free once a month for everybody on YouTube. We also have live behind the scenes recordings for Skirmish Saturday. For various other games we do, and like hobby projects and stuff as well. Early access to games I write, products that I've designed, all that stuff. Basically, you just get like more access to me and all the stupid shit in my head when you're on Patreon. So, and also this doesn't exist without it. I don't make videos. I don't make videos that are intentionally contentious. I ain't chasing that YouTube dollar algorithmically. I don't make the next.
Yeah, we kind of dropped the ball here.
We had
this great opportunity here to get like really into the
algorithm.
But we just steered completely away from it.
Yeah. Maybe next we'll do.
We got to keep those like views down.
Yeah, we got to keep the views down.
You got to stay humble.
I want my people.
You got to stay humble.
I want my people. I don't want all this YouTube audience, man. Then people are just crazy out there. We'll make a tier list of Warhammer Plus TV shows before it'd be like S tier, M tier. It's just gonna be a Astartes and then everything else.
Rating everything
else at the bottom. All right, so you can check that out, and of course you can get this podcast or this episode as a podcast 3 days early on Patreon as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, it was fun.
We'll follow this one up. Bye, everybody.